Listen to me, really listen, because what I'm about to say has the power to shift your entire existence. Every single one of us is walking through life chasing something. We chase success, we chase approval, we chase comfort, we chase desires. But the ultimate question that cuts through the noise, the distractions, the excuses is this. What are you willing to sacrifice for the one who gave you everything? Allah, the one who created your soul, your breath, your heartbeat. He gave you this life not as a playground, but as a proving ground. And too often we live like we've got forever. But here's the brutal truth. Time is running out. The clock is ticking. And your chance to live with purpose, intention, and devotion is right here, right now. You say you love Allah, but love without sacrifice is just empty words. You say you want Jannah, but paradise is not a gift for the lazy. It's a reward for the committed, the disciplined, the fearless. You say you trust Allah, but when he calls you to give up something for his sake, whether it's your comfort, your ego, your habits, your time, your money, do you respond or do you retreat? You want transformation? You want meaning? You want divine strength? Then you need to start asking the real question. What can I sacrifice for Allah? Maybe it's that toxic relationship that pulls you away from your Deen. Maybe it's those late nights wasted on distractions instead of prayer. Maybe it's that ego that refuses to forgive, even when Allah is most forgiving. Maybe it's your time you waste instead of investing in your akhirah. Every sacrifice you make for him, no matter how small, he sees it. He multiplies it, he honors it. Think about Ibrahim A.S. He didn't just believe. He acted. He didn't just pray. He surrendered. He was ready to sacrifice what he loved most, not because he had to, but because he trusted Allah above all. What about you? Are you willing to let go of what you want now for what you want most? Closeness to Allah, inner peace, a legacy that echoes in eternity. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. When you stand up and say, Ya Allah, I'm ready, I'm done holding back. I will give up what distracts me. I will walk away from what weakens me. I will rise above what tempts me because you are my priority. That's when your life starts to change. Now is the time. Don't wait for Ramadan. Don't wait for a tragedy. Don't wait for a better time. The better time is now. The best version of you is already within you. The strongest version of you is built through sacrifice. So asking again, what can you sacrifice for Allah? Make a decision today. Commit to one action today. Sacrifice one thing that's holding you back today. Because when you sacrifice for Allah, he will replace it with something beyond your imagination. That's not a theory. That's a promise. Now go, live it, prove it, rise for it. If you say you love Allah, you have to be ready to prove it, not through words, but through action. True love is never just spoken. It's demonstrated. It shows up in what you prioritize, what you give your energy to, and most importantly, what you're willing to sacrifice. Think about every meaningful relationship you've ever had. Love without sacrifice didn't survive. The ones that mattered required effort, giving, patience, and commitment. Now ask yourself, if you're willing to sacrifice for people who are temporary, flawed, and as dependent as you, then why does hesitation show up when it comes to sacrificing for the one who gave you everything? Real love pushes you beyond comfort. It demands a choice. And the truth is, many people claim to love Allah, but live like he's a side option, not the center. When you say you love Allah, but your choices consistently reflect love for your desires, your habits, your ego, or your lifestyle, then that's not love, it's convenience. And there's a big difference. Convenience says, I'll follow you when it fits into my schedule. Love says, I'll give up what I want because I know you're what I need. The heart is a battlefield. And on that battlefield, your desires and your devotion constantly clash. You will either bow to your comfort or you will rise for your creator. And in every moment of weakness where you feel like it's too hard to let go of something, haram, too hard to wake up for Fajr, too hard to walk away from bad company, too hard to speak truth when silence would be easier. Remember that love isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to elevate you. When you sacrifice for Allah, you're not losing. You're aligning. You're placing the most powerful love above every other attachment. Think of how the Prophet Ibrahim A.S. proved his love. When asked to sacrifice his son, the very thing he prayed for, longed for, and loved, he didn't flinch. Why? Because his love for Allah wasn't just deep, it was dominant. It overpowered even his most sacred human bond. That wasn't cruelty. That was clarity. That was what it looks like when love reaches its purest, most powerful form. Your sacrifices won't always look that big, but they matter. Maybe it's the battle to stay consistent in your prayers. Maybe it's the struggle to wear the hijab when society tells you not to. Maybe it's leaving a haram relationship, even when your heart is still attached. Maybe it's giving from your wealth when you're barely making ends meet. These aren't small acts, they're evidence. They're the proof your soul provides that you're not just talking about love, you're living it. There's a cost to love. Anyone can post about their deen, wear the appearance of religiosity and say, I love Allah 100 times a day, but real love shows up in the moment of decision when you have to choose between your lower self and your higher purpose. When your soul is torn between comfort and obedience, and you say, Ya Allah, I choose you, that's love. That's sacrifice. That's real. Your willingness to sacrifice shows the strength of your love. You can't claim deep love and live in shallow action. Love is shown in your daily choices and what you walk away from, what you commit to, and what you endure. It's the silent decisions, the private struggles, the unseen tears, and the battles you fight when no one else is watching that speak loudest in the court of Allah. Every act of sacrifice for Allah is a moment of transformation. It's not just about giving something up, it's about what you gain in return. Sacrifice is the forge that builds your spiritual strength. It's the resistance that builds your spiritual muscle. When you deny your lower desires, when you step out of your comfort zone for the sake of your Creator, you're not just losing an urge or a habit, you're gaining power, resilience, and a deeper connection to the one who sustains you. People often want spiritual strength, but they want it without struggle. They want closeness to Allah without letting go of the things that pull them away from Him. But that's not how strength is built. Think about a muscle in the gym. It only grows when it's pushed, stretched, and tested. You don't build strength when you're comfortable. You build it when you're under pressure. It's the same with your soul. Every time you feel the pull of a temptation and you resist for Allah's sake, you're training your soul to lead instead of follow. Every time you wake up early to pray, even when you're exhausted, you're showing yourself that your discipline is stronger than your comfort. And when that pattern repeats, you start to become a person who moves with purpose, who lives with strength, who breathes conviction. Spiritual strength isn't loud. It doesn't always look like big public acts. It shows up in the quiet moments of inner battle. When you decide to lower your gaze, when you refuse to backbite even when it's easy, when you say no to something you really want because you know it's not halal. These small moments of sacrifice are actually huge milestones in your growth. Each one strengthens your willpower and chips away at your dependence on the dunya. It's not just about resisting temptation. It's about taking back your power from the things that control you. The more you feed your soul, the more your soul leads your life. But if you constantly feed your desires, they start to control your thoughts, your actions, your identity. Sacrifice realigns you. It reminds you that you are not a slave to your cravings. You are a servant of the most merciful. And the moment you act like it, you feel an inner strength you didn't even know existed. There's a kind of clarity that only comes when you sacrifice for Allah. You start to see yourself differently. You start to trust yourself more because you know you're not driven by every emotion or impulse. You're anchored. You're grounded. You're focused. Your self-respect grows. Your confidence shifts from surface-level image to a deep-rooted certainty in who you are and what you stand for. That's not arrogance. That's the quiet strength of a soul that knows its worth. People around you might not understand your sacrifices. They might see it as loss, as unnecessary hardship. But you know better. You know that with every drop of comfort you give up for the sake of Allah, you're gaining a well of strength, depth, and spiritual clarity. You're becoming a person who doesn't break easily, who doesn't fold under pressure, who walks through life with a higher standard. And that strength ripples into every area of your life, your relationships, your work, your mindset, your worship. You become a person others can lean on, not because you're perfect, but because you've trained your soul to submit to something greater than itself. Discipline for the sake of Allah is a weapon. It protects you from falling. It shields you from regret. And it sharpens your awareness. It allows you to say no when everything around you is saying yes. It helps you rise when your Nafs wants to keep you down. And the more you choose sacrifice over comfort, the more that weapon becomes part of who you are. One of the most dangerous illusions we cling to in life is the idea that there will always be a better time to... We tell ourselves we'll begin praying more seriously tomorrow. We'll let go of that harmful habit next month. We'll purify our income when things get more stable. We'll start dressing modestly once we're older or more confident. It becomes a cycle of delay that numbs our sense of urgency. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is no magical point in the future where everything will align, where motivation will be sky high, where you'll feel completely ready. The perfect time you're waiting for does not exist. The only real time you have is now, and every moment you waste waiting is a moment you're never getting back. The belief that you can wait to change is one of the most deceptive tricks of Shaitan. He doesn't always try to stop you directly. He just whispers, wait a little longer. And while you're waiting for that right time, your heart gets harder, your soul gets more distracted, and the things that once bothered your conscience begin to feel normal. It's the danger. Delay breeds desensitization. What you tolerate today becomes what you justify tomorrow. And the longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes to return. People often confuse intention with action. They think, at least I intend to get better one day, so I'm safe. But an intention without movement is like a seed never planted. You can stare at the soil all you want, but nothing will grow until you make the effort to dig, plant, and water. Likewise, your intentions must turn into actions, or they'll fade into forgotten dreams. Delaying for the sake of perfection is not wisdom. It's procrastination, disguised as caution. It's you convincing yourself that you'll give Allah your best, but never taking the steps to become your best. Some people are waiting for a sign, others are waiting for a hardship to wake them up. But waiting for pain to bring you to Allah is a risky gamble. What if the pain doesn't come until it's too late? What if your last chance is today and you let it pass because you thought you had more time? Time is not guaranteed. Breath is not promised. Life doesn't come with a countdown you can see. You could have 30 more years or 30 more minutes. And once your time is up, no wealth, no excuse, no regret can buy you back even one more second. This world is fast, fleeting, and full of distractions. The people who rise, who transform, who make their mark are not the ones who waited. They're the ones who started. They didn't wait for confidence to pray. They started praying and confidence followed. They didn't wait for the strength to give something up. They let go and found strength in the struggle. They didn't wait for a crowd to support them. They stood alone and Allah supported them. Action brings clarity. Movement brings momentum. When you start, even if it's messy or uncomfortable, you open the door for Allah's help to enter. Many people feel like they're not good enough yet to make a change, but this mindset is backwards. You don't become good and then turn to Allah. You turn to Allah, and through that journey, you become better. It's not about being ready. It's about being willing to try, willing to sacrifice, willing to take the first step even if you stumble. Allah loves the one who turns to him, even after a lifetime of mistakes, as long as the turning is sincere. And sincerity doesn't wait for the stars to align. It just begins. Every single thing you sacrifice for Allah is seen, known, and recorded. Not a tear, not a struggle, not a silent act of self-restraint goes unnoticed. And what's even more powerful is that Allah does not just see your sacrifice. He honors it, multiplies it, and replaces it with something far better. The human mind is wired to focus on what we're losing. When we're asked to give something up, we instinctively think of the pain, the void, the fear of missing out. But when you shift your mindset to the truth that Allah never takes without giving more, you realize that sacrifice for him is never a loss. It's a divine exchange. You leave something for Allah and he gives you back peace. You walk away from a harmful relationship and he replaces it with clarity and self-respect. You give up high income and he opens doors you never imagined. You push through the difficulty of praying on time and he blesses your time. Every single struggle, even the smallest, becomes a cause for mercy and reward. What matters to you matters to him. The tiniest internal battles, like lowering your gaze, holding back a harsh word, or controlling your ego, are seen by the one who created your heart and knows exactly how hard that moment was. Sometimes, when you're in the middle of the struggle, it doesn't feel like you're gaining anything. It feels like you're alone, that your efforts are invisible. But the spiritual realm works differently from the physical. What may seem insignificant here can be weightier than mountains on the scale of your deeds. The beauty of Islam is that Allah values your effort, not just your outcome. Even if you fall short, even if you slip again, every moment you tried, every time you sincerely said, Ya Allah, I want to be better, is written as a step toward him. The Prophet Muhammad reminded us of this divine generosity. He said, whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, he will replace it with something better. Not something equal, better. Allah doesn't give in measures we understand. His rewards are limitless. His mercy is expansive. The better He gives may not always come in the form you expect. It may not be material or instant, but it will always be what your soul needs most. There are people who gave up addictions and later found healing. People who walked away from relationships for the sake of Allah and were blessed with stronger connections with themselves, their families, or with someone righteous down the road. There are those who gave in charity when they barely had anything and saw their lives turn around unexpectedly. These aren't fairy tales. These are real-life stories of believers who trusted in Allah's promise and were honored through their sacrifice. Sometimes the replacement isn't even in this world. It's in the Akhirah, where every struggle you endured becomes a treasure waiting for you. Imagine meeting Allah and seeing rewards piled high because you walked away from something no one else even knew about. Imagine being granted light on the day of judgment because you made a habit of choosing Him over your desires again and again. The beauty of sacrificing for Allah is that it always leads to gain, either in this world, the next, or both. There's a kind of serenity that only comes when you choose Allah over everything else. You may hurt at first. You may feel like a battle, but deep inside, your soul begins to shine. Your heart feels lighter. Your eyes see clearer. Your life becomes more meaningful. You don't feel like you're wandering anymore because you're walking with purpose. Every choice you make for Allah becomes part of a larger picture, a legacy of devotion, discipline, and love that transcends this temporary world.